Okay, today we're going to jump into NotebookLM 20 workflows that will change the way you work. Let's get into it. Okay, first rule with NotebookLM, remember it's your sources that you put in. So you can upload a source, you can upload files, you can upload a website or a YouTube channel, you can take stuff from your drive, or you can copy text, or you can use NotebookLM to search for sources. Really easy. That's how you get your sources in. And when you get your sources in, they will appear on the left-hand side and you can click on them to see the individual sources. Check them, make sure they're right. If they're not, look for another source. Start that way and you'll have a great experience with NotebookLM. Okay, let's do a search. Information about AI stocks, including predictions and market analysis. Off it goes. There's a search. It's got 3 sources there and there's 7 more. Let's import them. Series of PDFs. It will make a summary of the documents and then you can go in and ask it questions. So I said, what will be the best stocks for 2026? It gives you an answer. You have the answer. Video remains the undisputed leader. AMD, Taiwan Semiconductor, goes all the way through. Palantir I saw in there. Snowflake. Love those guys. And first thing, save to a note. So this is now a note and it will be used as part of your sources. Really useful. Let's move on. Dealing with different versions of a document. Well, here I've got 2 versions of an AI governance policy, version 1 and version 1.1. And I've said, give me the differences by section and risk impact changes. Save the output as a note called changelog. See what we get. 2 sources, just looking at the 2 documents. Here we go. And I think there should be about 7 changes. So it's changed the review cadence to a 6-month cycle, contact point, changed some definitions, new subscriptions, third-party tools, changed the section. It's gone to section 12 from section 11. And it's given this all in a document called changelog, which I can now save. What a quick way, rather than having in Word, going through 2 documents, underlining the changes, going through working them out, get NotebookLM to do the work for you. Let's move on. Okay, quick tip. If you've got an audio file, so say you record a meeting on your phone and you want to make it into a transcript, then drop it into Gemini. You drop it into ChatGPT, it won't read the audio file that you make on a phone. If you put it into Gemini, it will, and it is very good. It will, especially if people introduce themselves, it will work out who everyone is, remember their voice, and then correctly identify what they said in each of the bits of speech. Really cool. Anyway, NotebookLM. So let's upload a source. I've got some text, and what I've got here is an audio transcript. I'm going to insert that. I'm going to say, please detail the tasks and deadlines by person. No one's having to go through, listen to it. Just upload the transcript. There we go. NotebookLM. The editor is going to build assets. So this is a conversation between me, an editor, camera person, sound, etc. Creative director. So the editor's got a whole series of tasks and deadlines. Creative director, camera operator, sound engineer, and me. And it's got a summary of the specific deadlines. Really quick, really easy. Take your transcript, get the information you need. Let's move on. Okay, need some frequently asked questions. So upload your process guide. So I put my process guide in for my YouTube channel and then said, create 12 frequently asked questions from this process guide. See what we get. There we go. What's the core audience? How should we prioritize which video ideas to produce? What is the standard structure for a video script, etc., etc. 12 frequently asked questions and the answers from the process guide. How cool is that? Let's move on. Okay, you've got a big document. This is my PhD, 100,000 words. Create a one-page executive summary. See what we get. So NotebookLM can deal with massive documents, and 50 or more of them. If you've got a paid account, you can put even more than 50. Here we've got one document, create an executive summary. Let's do that. There we go. Search context and objectives, key findings, influence on investment quality, mode of entry, heterogeneity of NMEs, perception versus reality, corporate migration strategies. Fantastic. Big document, executive summary, done. Let's move on. Okay, so you've got our executive summary. So what we need to do is to save that as a note, and it comes over here. And then if you save that note as a source, so you move it into sources, and then just select that source, this one here, just select that source, and then go for a slide deck just based on this source, so not all of these sources, and we should be able to generate a slide deck just of this summary. Let's see what we get. Okay, well, didn't quite get what I wanted, so I did manage to get a series of slides, and they're great slides, no doubt about it, but it's a whole series of slides, not just one slide. And I, again, got another set of slides when I tried it just using that one source. Really great slides. I mean, very, very good, but not quite what I wanted. So what I tried was to create a infographic, and this is what I got. And honestly, this is superb. Now, I've had a look through. I think there is one error here. This an E instead of an S, but in terms of what's in here, it's distilled a enormous thesis, understood it, put it into an infographic that I could use as a slide. Absolutely, absolutely incredible. Let's move on. Okay, massive document. How do you work through acronyms, etc., meanings? Let's do, got my PhD here again, list acronyms, meanings, and where they appear. See what we get. And here we go. It took about a minute, and we've got a full list of acronyms, their meanings, and where they appear. Even shows you the text. How cool is this? Fantastic. How long would it take you to go through a document and do that? Take you 6 hours to read the bloody thing. Get NotebookLM, go through, identify all the acronyms, and even tell you where you might find those acronyms. Fantastic. Let's move on. Okay, one of the great things you can do with NotebookLM is a mind map. And what I'm going to do is generate a mind map of this massive document. Let's see what we get. See what was in my mind. That was quick. Okay, so it has identified the mind map, and you can move it around. Influence of Chinese IPR protection on UK M&I FDI decisions. Research context, so you can look at the research context. It's me. Thesis date. Fantastic. Put that off. Nature of M&E's ownership. Fantastic. Location advantages, why you would want to go into China. Really good. And then you can look at the perceptions, IPR quality, enforcement culture, drivers for FDI, why people will be going in. How cool is this? It's a way of learning about something, generating a mind map in seconds. You saw it, and then being able to sort of dig in. What are the key areas? What makes the difference? You can even go down to your key findings, go into the document, left that there. Just close these off so we can see them. Key findings, heterogeneity, better enforcement, need for layered protection. Really, really very cool. Mind map, a way of understanding a massive document really easily. NotebookLM continues to deliver. Let's move on. Okay, so we're back in our governance policy, and remember what we did was create a frequently asked questions on the back of that. Let's create some flashcards so we can learn about our governance. See what we get. It's based on these sources. Oh, we did a comparative analysis, didn't we, on this? That was what we did. Let's see if we can create some flashcards on this AI governance document. Here we go. We've got our flashcards. Who holds the final sign-off authority for high-risk items at the Professor.ai? Who do we think that is? The founder, channel owner. Me. Hey! According to what policy, what is the primary responsibility of AI governance lead? Managing the AI register, reviewing risk assessments and setting standards for prompts and tooling. Really useful. Which role is responsible for advising on lawful basis for personal data use and sign-off of the DPIAs? Data protection lead. Really helpful. You can test your team, test your staff. You can give them the training. They can do self-learning. Really, really, really helpful. Let's move on. Okay, so we've created the flashcards so people can learn. Let's create a quiz so we can test them. We go over here and we click on quiz. These are just fantastic, these things. Really, really good. Okay, so we've got our quiz. Took about a minute. Let's see what we get. Let's go full screen so you can see it. According to the AI governance policy, who is responsible for the final sign-off of high-risk items and improved organizational risk appetite? Data protection lead, content lead, founder, governance lead. Let's try the governance lead. Nope, it's the founder. Team members are using AI tools to handle user document uploads and provide advisory outputs. How is this risk level classified? Low, high, medium, or minimal? No, it's high. In the event of a material AI incident, what is the maximum required time frame for reporting to the founder, channel owner? 24 hours, 72 hours, 12 hours, 48 hours. What do you think? Let's try 12 hours. That's the 24 hours is the right answer. I gave them a bit more time. Very, very cool. So baking this into your learning and your testing, really useful to make sure that your policies are embedded with your staff. Fantastic. Let's move on. Okay, let's create something a bit different. So create me a list of the various contentious issues in this document. Set it going. Okay, so we've got our contentious issues, always useful. So I'm going to save this to a note, generates it as a note. Then I'm going to save that note to a source, and then I will unselect all the sources and just select that new source, the great paradox. And then what I want to do is create an audio overview. So what that will do will be take that source and then create a discussion about it. Let's see what we get. So it took about 5-6 minutes to produce our audio overview. I've got my earphones on so that we don't interfere with each other, but let's have a listen.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a contradiction that, honestly, it shouldn't exist. Not if you believe the standard economic textbooks, anyway.
Not at all.
We're looking at a situation where the smartest companies in the world.
Remember, this is just about the contradictions in the thesis. It's not about the whole thesis.
We're talking high-tech multinationals are looking at a market with let's say, a flexible relationship with intellectual property.
Right.
And instead of running away, they're doubling down.
It really is the great paradox of modern global business. If you just look at the textbook definition of foreign direct investment, FDI, the rule is incredibly simple. Capital is cowardly. It hates risk. And high-tech capital specifically, it avoids places where its secrets can be stolen.
Right. We all know the playbook. If you spend millions developing the new engine or a proprietary software algorithm, you do not set up shop where someone across the street can clone it.
And sell it for half price the next morning.
Exactly. You stay in safe harbors.
Yeah.
You stay where the courts actually work.
That is the rational choice.
Really, really interesting. So there you go. That's a audio overview. Really worth doing, especially if you're trying to get more value out of the content that you have. So doing that sort of analysis of the document, and then creating an audio overview. See how it plays out, see how it works. Think about what that might be like in terms of a podcast, etc. All right, let's move on. Okay, we're back on our governance policy for the Professor AI. What I'm going to say here is, give me a one-pager on what I absolutely need to know. So how do you distill information in a large document? I want just a one-pager. What do I need to know out of this document? Think how useful that would be when you've got these really large documents. Here we go. Give me a nice table, golden rule, human responsibility. Always talk about that. Giving me a series of know your risk level, low, medium and high risk, critical do nots, and then the incident response. Really, really useful. Just the core things you need to know. Let's move on. Okay, so we created our one-pager. I then went on and said, build a risk register, and it produced me a risk register of the key risks for my business from an AI security point of view. I then said, give me a picture about my governance framework. So here are my human in the loop accountability. So these are my principles, accountability, verification, managing the risk, tiers of risk classifications, and then operational life cycles, synthetic media safeguards, strict minimization of personal data. Really useful. And I also had a look, oh, that was that one. I also had a look at the picture of the full framework. Sorry. And here we go. So we've got the three risk tiers: low risk, internal use; medium risk, public and personal data; high risk, rights, safety impact; security accountability guardrails. Human holds absolute accountability, so it's on me if it's wrong. We need to use strict data security protocols, and then we have 24-hour incident reporting. Those are the key guardrails. Really, really useful way of articulating, both in document form but also in a visual form, what's important about this quite boring subject of AI governance. All right, let's move on. Okay, so one of the things that NotebookLM can do is it can read tables. It can read Google Sheets, it can read Excel sheets. So let's have a look at how it does that. So let's create a new sheet, and I've got some dummy data here that I want to upload. So I'm just uploading that file. Okay, so we put the dummy data in. It is too large to import. Okay, so we dropped the file in, and I had to make the Excel file into a PDF because it was struggling to read it. It said it had a size issue, but given that it can take massive documents, I don't really understand that. I think it's just a complexity issue. Anyway, I put it into a PDF. It's done me a nice summary, and then I'm saying, give me the top trends, anomalies, and weekly metrics, and what should I investigate next? So let's have a look. It's looking at that data, and here we go. It's looked at the sales data, and it's identified the top trends: a September surge, net sales, margin compression in high volume months, channel shifts, online is the primary driver of Q4 growth, jumping from 44k in October to 96k in November. Marketplace sales remain the most consistent revenue generators. April return rate spike, partner channel lag, net sales. What should you investigate next? The April product performance, investigate the raw data for April returns. Enterprise segment profitability, September catalyst, determine why September sales were so high, partner channel visibility. Really useful. So if you've got your data in this format, analysing the data, coming up with the trends, looking at what you should look at next, identifying the story from your data, NotebookLM can do a job for you. All right, let's move on. Okay, so in most of these, I've showed you me uploading the sources for each of the videos. So this time I'm going to use the deep research function within NotebookLM. So I've said I want the tech stock movers in 2026, and instead of fast research, I'm going to put deep research, and then I'm going to say go, and this will then go and use Gemini's deep research to go and identify the key documents and then do deep research on them. So we'll come back when it's done. It's probably going to take a little bit of time. I'll let you know how long it takes. Okay, so it took about 5 minutes and it has found 64 sources. Let's import those sources. Some of these I expect will be unacceptable. They'll be behind paywalls. Others will be fine, but see what it does. It's a lot of sources. So deep research goes into a lot of, no, they're all okay. I know there's a few that didn't work. Fantastic. Outlines the 2026 economic landscape defined by major legislative shifts and rapid advancements in artificial intelligence. One big beautiful bill act, hey! Which implements significant tax reforms, including permanent tax cuts for new deductions for overtimes and tips. Agentic AI, really cool. Now you can go over to reports and it will basically just give you your any of the information that you want in various reports. So you can get a briefing doc. So let's click that one off and it'll start generating that. An industry outlook paper, strategic advisory report. Let's have a look at that. Let's see if I should be investing in some stocks. Concept explainer, we can do that. That's always useful. Find out what we're actually talking about. And then innovation primer, an introductory overview of the major technological sectors defining 2026. Assessment of emerging AI infrastructure trends. We asked for an industry outlook paper. Fantastic. Okay, so we've got our first one. So we've got strategic briefing. Strategic briefing, one big beautiful bill act, emergence of agentic AI. See my latest video. Next generation hardware architecture, NVIDIA's Rubin, macroeconomic and legislative catalyst, private equity, AI hardware revolution, software disruption, agentic AI, Claude co-work. Might do a video on that next. Really useful. Let's go back. Still generating the reports. It's got 59 sources. So this is making sense of the one big beautiful bill act. So new era for your finances, keeping what you earn, tips and overtime. Clearly it sees this as a big impact on your finances. I suppose if you live in the US. Strategic briefing, that the one we've seen, yes. Strategic advisory, optimizing your investments, fiscal paradigm, great divergence, architecture, exit timelines, reversion, enhancing debt capacity, really useful. Talks about NVIDIA's chips. So there you see, using NotebookLM to do deep research into a subject, literally minutes. Maybe this has taken 10 minutes to do the research, to create the documents. You can get a real in-depth view of a subject, and then you can dig into that subject. And you can, obviously, as we've already seen, you can create a slide deck, you can create infographics, you can create a data table, you can create a mind map, etc, etc, etc. There's loads you can do once you've got it in NotebookLM. Really, really powerful. Let's move on. Okay, so we've got our deep research. So now I've said, give me meeting notes for a meeting about the future of tech stocks in 2026. It will be with a knowledgeable crowd. So this is getting yourself prepared. If you are going on to a panel, if you are going into a meeting, using NotebookLM to do research into the company that you're going into, the area that you're going to be discussing. If you're going to a conference, what's going to be discussed at the conference, doing research on that, understanding what the latest information is. And then what you can do is create your meeting notes and your briefing pack for you. And here we go, executive summary, the one big beautiful bill act. Quite sure why they had to put a third B in, but AI hardware. And it's just giving you a summary of what's in there. It's giving you ideas about which policies to be interested in. And of course, you can dig in deeper into any of these things and get that information, go straight to that information. There we go, straight to the information that's in all of those different areas. Really, really useful. Fantastic. Okay, that's NotebookLM. NotebookLM is, I believe, one of the most effective tools that an individual can use or a business can use that has AI baked in as part of it. And that's because it allows you to do research, identify your sources, and then do really useful things with that research. Whether it's creating an audio overview or a video overview, whether it's creating reports on that research, whether it's creating mind maps, etc. There's lots and lots of stuff that you can do with NotebookLM. Really, really powerful. And I think in your business, it can be a very valuable tool. And remember, it's free. You don't have to pay for NotebookLM. And there is not much out there that's free these days that can give you so much utility and so much power to do different things. So if you don't use NotebookLM now, go and give it a go. It doesn't cost you anything. It's really simple to use. I've done a whole series of videos on it, and there's lots out there on YouTube. So go and give it a go. I think you will find that it can really add to your business, your life, your hobby, whatever it is. NotebookLM, really good. I've been the Professor. I'll see you soon. Bye bye for now.